Hey! Is the noon train on time?
Supposed to be.
Feels like it's time.
Fair enough.
BBN Jackfrost. What's up, party people? How's everybody doing? I'm hoping everybody's having a beautiful day. We haven't did this in a minute, so we're going to try to get to it as quickly as possible. If everybody's already seen the title of the video, we're going to be talking about, let me line this up real quick. So when I'm looking at the screen, we're going to be talking about the Jam Master J trial. Just already to be clear, we're going to be talking about the Jam Master J trial today. Bimmy actually showed up to court today. I haven't been telling y'all, we haven't been having the videos every night, so you don't actually know who's been showing up or not been showing up to court. Bimmy showed up in court today with his homie. I forgot the dude's name. First time I met him. Couple of things I want to say real quick. Washington's attorney asked for a mistrial. Now, just so we could be clear, usually at some point the defense asks for a mistrial, like you're trying to get your guy off. You don't want this to go to the fucking jury. So 9 times out of 10, at some point they're gonna ask for a mistrial. So we're gonna discuss what they asked for the mistrial for today. That's what a lot of this show is gonna be about. But I want to say something that happened the other day. This is day 8. I want to bring up something real quick that actually happened on a previous day that I thought was pretty curious. So a couple of days ago, I hope it's in this book. A couple of days ago, just so we can be clear, there was I think a big victory, in my opinion, by Kelman. It's in the other book. I'll tell you what happened. So what happened was there are some, and this, I'm going to explain why this is important. So what happened was there are some detectives, apparently, that gave depositions. And when they gave these depositions, the detectives had said that there were things inside of the deposition that, no, they don't remember. They don't recall. They don't remember. They don't recall. Right? Inside of the deposition, just so we could be clear. So I believe 2 detectives said this, making obviously their testimony questionable. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is this same issue is consistently coming up in this trial, where there's people that are getting on the stand, and what they're saying is they're reading back, particularly reports from the police, and they're saying, I didn't say this. And this is not just happening with just regular witnesses, that might be friends of the accused or the victim, but also with the detectives. I just want to point this out. So today they did something that I generally see happen more often than when they just want to show the reports that the detectives gave in. And that's when they talk about the actual grand jury testimony. So yesterday, there was a witness. He had to be subpoenaed. So before he even the trial or anything happens, he gave testimony to the grand jury, right? I'm going to explain to you who this guy is. We got to talk about this guy today, just so we can be clear. So we got to talk about this guy today because of what we're about to talk about in a moment. So just so we can be clear, I had to, since you don't know about this before today, you wouldn't be able to get the information. It's important. You have to know about what this guy said. His name, all I got was Yusef. I'm assuming he changed his name in jail at some point. All I got was Yusef. I couldn't get what his last name was. He actually was in MDC with Washington, and that's what his testimony actually refers to. So basically, and I can tell you this, so they were calling him up, telling him that he's gonna not just have to be for the grand jury, but they're also gonna use him in the trial. And I guess at some point or another, they told him previously that, you know, when he did the grand jury, don't worry, we're not even going to use you at trial. Just so we can be clear, this is how they get a lot of indictments on people, because there's people that'll come be in the grand jury that don't go and be involved in the trial. For individuals that don't know, because they don't have to call you. Especially if they already think that they're going to get the win, or especially if they think a cross-exam, because at the grand jury, there's no cross-examination. Like, you understand what it's not like open court. You understand this? So they might not want that individual to take the stand. Anyway, for whatever the reasons might be. He didn't believe that he was going to have to take the stand. His name was Yusef. He was actually in the NDC with Washington. So he called up the individuals that told him that he had to come and be on the stand, and he was cursing them out. He said, if you have me come up there, I'm gonna lie. He's gonna do all of the things that they don't want him to do. And then he starts saying he's not gonna testify. He started putting it on everything. He was just, I'm just gonna say everything. I'm not gonna repeat. He was just swearing on everything, just so we could be clear. But he was just never gonna testify. He's up there testifying, by the way. He testified yesterday. In any regard, what he said happened was when they was in the MDC, Washington told him that he did it. I'm not here to gauge whether anybody is telling the truth or lying or anything like that. That's not what we do over here. I'm just here to give you the information. So the Yusef dude said that Washington told him that he did it. Now I'm going to tell you something that's even wilder. And this is okay. So this is just an opinion of mine. I could be wrong. And this is why I believe that Esquire is top tier defense attorney. So, not saying that the defense attorneys in this case aren't as good or better. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying why I consider him to be a top tier defense attorney. So sometimes there are no questions. There just are no questions. There are no good questions to ask this person. So they might have, just in all fairness, there might be 3, 4, 5 people they might call up there, and you don't have no questions for 5 straight people. There's no questions that can help your client, but you have to talk to a couple of them. Because you have to break the momentum of the prosecution. So you have to talk to a couple of them. So I'm, just so we could be clear, I am in no way saying you just keep letting witnesses go up if you don't have anything directly to say to them, because you don't want to, look a certain way or do a certain thing, whatever. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is this. You have to know when to take your shot. You have to know which witness you can go up there and play with and which witness you cannot play with. You have to, if you have a squad, know who to send. All right? This ain't a Rochambeau. We got to know who to send to go up there and tongue wrestle with whoever this rat bastard is that we got to go talk to now, because we got to break the momentum of the prosecution, because we're not going to just keep letting y'all hit home runs. This ain't happening. This, I think, stands out, and I thought that this was funny. So they go up there, and do you not know that this dude isn't even getting anything? He's not getting anything. He's not in trouble with the law. They're not giving him favorable treatment at any court. He's not getting time off of anything. He's just testifying. And you know how that don't sound like that's a big deal? Washington's team made that a big deal. When that is 100% something that we should not be pointing fingers at. That this guy's not even getting anything. And he's testifying. And he's somebody who's adamantly against snitching. This is what I mean by sometimes we have to pick our shots. I think that was a bad spot for them to pick yesterday. I want to talk about that. Thought that was a bad spot for them to pick yesterday. But overall, I think it was yesterday. Overall, yesterday, like they was knocking them out the park, though. I think the day before yesterday, overall, they was knocking them out the park. Like the fucking defense was like beating the damn prosecution upside the head with a mallet. Like 2 days ago, it was dangerous. It was dangerous. I explained that earlier in the video, right? When I told you about how the detectives basically got discredited on the stand with their own words, in my belief. I don't know how much the jury could take the detectives' reports into consideration. I'm not saying that the reports are wrong, and I'm not saying that the detectives are lying or shouldn't be trusted. But what I'm saying is, out of the detectives' own words, that they were reports that were written, that they signed, that they're saying aren't their own words. So I don't know. No, these are people's lives, right? So I don't know how the jury is going to take that. And I'm pretty sure every single, and I watch these people walk in and out the courtroom every day. They take their job seriously. There's nobody over there playing with them. That jury is taking their job seriously. Shout out to the judge, by the way. She's doing a magnificent job. She chewed them out yesterday, by the way. Was that yesterday? She chewed them out today, by the way. She absolutely chewed them out. We're about to get to that in a minute. Anyway, day 8. Now we're starting with day 8. That was like all the preamble. Day 8. So just so we could be clear, before everything even started, Mr. McDonald, they were talking about Washington's ex-girlfriend, right? Was going to testify, right? So apparently, her name is Miss McDonald. She testified against Washington in a prior trial. So the same girl I'm about to tell you about that took the stand today, the same chick, she testified against him in a prior trial. Now, this is going to be a big deal, so pay attention. She also, just so we could be clear, the prosecution has paperwork, the government and the defense later on that they're going to address later on. They all agreed that there's some stuff that they got to do, but they're going to do it later. That right? This is all before the first witness comes out. Just before this is court. Like for everybody that don't get it, the judge comes in, they open court up before the jury comes out. They take care of court business. Bang! This is court business. So both the government and the defense, they agreed that the government is going to, this is going to play big in a minute or two. The government is going to have a little bit of leeway with leading the witness. When particular questions arise, to be sure that she doesn't say anything that's gonna any kind of inadmissible statement. Now, just so we could be clear, the same woman, Miss McDonald, she testified against Washington Tenard in the previous case. So what I'm assuming is they don't want her to say anything about whatever that other charge is, because it has nothing to do with this charge, and it'll be inadmissible as evidence, and also to be prejudicial towards the defense against the accused in the eyes of the jury. So they cannot allow that. So basically, what happened was the defense and the government came together, made this agreement, and then now they are bringing it to the court So now the court can act upon it. So when all of these things are happening, everybody is in sync with one another. Everybody know what's going on. Keep this in mind. Anyway, also, there's a particular photo. They don't know if they're going to use it or not. This photo, somebody is half naked. I think I wrote Washington because that's what I heard them say. But it could have been the photo that she was kind of half naked with like no top, but her boobs and nothing like that was showing. This nigga was in a full bubble coat. I saw that shit in court, fam. You don't know how much I wanted to laugh at this shit, fam. Now, first of all, just so I can be clear about this, I'm from this era that this nigga took the photo in. That's how we all would have been. So this is not me laughing at him as much as me laughing at how silly we was as niggas back then. So the nigga, it looked like they was laying in the bed. Nigga had a full bubble coat on, zip all the way up. Now, maybe I was too far and I couldn't see. This is what it looked like to me. And she was like, no top on, laying on top of him. So that could have been the photo they was talking about. When I was about to lose it, fam. I was in court. I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? Nah, we was all wilding. Oh man. Anyway, also they insisted that they did not Washington's team insisted that they were not boyfriend girlfriend actually. So Washington team is like, look, that was not my girlfriend. That was not my girl. So I want to say something just so we can be clear. Somebody put into the chat earlier that she might not have had the most, irreputable reputation. My reputation could have been reputable. So him saying that was not my girl, he's probably just trying to say, they said she was for the streets. I don't know this girl. I have no idea who she is. All right. I'm just trying to say in defense of Washington, his team just wants everybody to know that wasn't his girl. That's what you want to know. Who the fuck was she talking about? She about to say a whole bunch of things that we don't like, but forget that. That's not my girl though. Anyway, the judge then says that the photo is only necessary if she denies the relationship. I guess if she goes up there and says, "Nah, I wasn't dating him," because the prosecution's whole thing is that was his girlfriend, right? So they're like, they don't even really need the other photo unless she's saying that she wasn't his girl. If he's saying it, don't matter. Only if she's saying it, because when she says it, then it's on the record. That nigga could yell whatever he wants from over here. He could think whatever he wants to. That don't put it on the record as on the court record. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, I guess if he yells, they're gonna be like he was yelling. I don't know how that goes. The prosecution then says, are they planning on eliciting from the witness that in 2003 they asked her if she spoke with anyone about a murder? So basically, they're saying, yo, look, the other thing you don't got to worry about. We're not. There's a specific thing that we want her to say. We're gonna tell the court what it is because it's okay that we're not tainting the jury in no way. So basically, there was a funeral for Little Max, I believe it is, and I'm sorry, during her testimony, the way she described him, and it was so blatantly careless of human life. Apparently he had nobody. And he was a homeless kid. And so he was just doing whatever. And he got killed. Anyway, so while she was at his funeral, she said she didn't actually go in the funeral, or while she was at his funeral, she was approached. So that's what, and I'll tell you what said when she was approached. She was approached and threatened. So that's the information they want to get out of her, not the other thing. So the judge is like, yeah, not a problem. I'll permit that. I'll permit that. That's what the judge says that she's going to permit. Listen to what, I'll rewind this a little so you can understand why later on I'm going to tell you why the judge was pissed. They were playing in the face. I'm going to tell you why the judge was, why I believe the judge was pissed. They were playing in the face, fam. Hold on. The first thing, they agreed he can lead the witness. But the specific thing that they tell the judge that they agree that he can lead the witness to was the conversation that they had when they were at Little Max's funeral. The judge says agreed. Then they talk about some photos as evidence from a previous case. They're going to remove the stickers because they have some gun bullets that they want to talk about with their forensic person that's coming up. But the bullets from the gun, from one of the sets of bullet, is from a different crime. So they wanted to remove the stickers or any kind of indication that these exhibits were in the previous case or in the previous trial. So she's like, yeah, not fine, not a problem, whatever, do y'all, right? Whatever, nigga. Now this took a minute, or pardon me, all of that I'm telling y'all about, it took a minute. I got played basketball, long story. It took a minute. All of that I'm telling y'all about, it took a minute. All right, like we was in court. It took way longer than I just explained. But I think something else was going on too. I can't remember. I think one of the jurors was late today. That could have been yesterday. Anyway. So anyway, the jury enters. It's like 10:28, right? Boom. Yeah, it was yesterday. The jury was late. 10:28. They enter the room. Boom. So first is an exhibit 910. It stipulates that there was an agreement that they had made, the defense had made, because basically they have a client that's coming up. I said client, right? Obviously, I mean witness. Hold on. She was not the only witness today, was she? Sheesh, there we go. Hold on. Sheesh. All right. No. This is a long day. All right, so there were some stipulations made because they wanted it to be understood that dude was in the MDC, Washington. But there was some stipulations made. This is stipulation specifically Exhibit 910. It was stipulation agreed by the defendants that they were both in the MDC at whatever the time and what cells they were in, whatever the case is. So that had to happen for whatever the reason is, right? I was gonna leave that right there. Anyway, so the next witness was Dana. She's 43 right now. I shouldn't even have did all that, right? But at the time that this happened, she was 22. I guess it is pertinent. At the time that this happened, she was 22. She's actually from Jamaica, the West Indies, and then she moved to Hollis when she was like 11 or something like that. I'm gonna just keep it moving a little bit. So they showed her exhibit 541. That was a photo of Tenard back in the day, a little bit when he was a little bit younger. She failed to identify Tenard in the courtroom, though. They was like, yo, do you see him? She was like, don't see him. Then they failed to identify Tenard in the courtroom. She was introduced to Tenard by Bo. I think he was part of one of the rap groups. They bounced from hotel to hotel with Tenard in Long Island. Just so we could be clear, she's about to say a whole bunch of stuff. I'm just giving y'all like whatever the leeway. I'm skipping over some of this stuff. So they showed us some more photos. She was like, yeah, that's him. Bang, bang, bang. So basically the summer 2002, they were staying at, she said, and then this is another thing. So when she said, yeah, he was staying with Jim Master Jay's sister's couch. It's like the fact that everybody says it like that. Like, wowzers, fam. So she was like, yeah, she was staying on Jam Master Jay's sister's couch. And said her family lived about a block away. She didn't stay with her family for whatever the reasons is, other things or whatever. They didn't really get into that too tough. Then they showed him a photo of Noid. She said Noid is little D. She said she went to middle school with him. She said in 2002 she saw Noid and Tenard together a little, not that much. And she saw Tiff and Noid together a little, not that much, a couple of times. Then they showed a picture of Jay Bryant. She said she saw him around with Tiff, Little D, and Tenard. So basically what the government is doing is the government needs to show association with the individuals. So we can't just say, yo, look, those people did a heist together. What we need for you to, if they want the jury to believe that those individuals did a heist together, one of the things is that they're also trying to show is that those individuals had a relation with one another. These were actual friends. They hung out together. People saw them together, whatever. Now, see, the dangerous part is this. What kind of girl was she? With all due respect. A lot of people come to countries, like a lot of people come to this country, or and we see it a lot now with like the OnlyFans thing, right? So I don't really want to touch on that. I don't want to insult that young lady at all. But you understand what the implication I'm trying to make is, because I'm trying to let for you to understand that this is kind of a fuck situation. Because now how many other people in the jury is probably going to put 2 and 2 together? Well, they don't know some of the stuff I know, right? Anyway, so shows the picture of Jay Bryant. Anyway, 503 says Hunter Nard. Remember, they are trying to push her off as his girlfriend. So, that probably helps him more than he realizes. It probably helps him, even though it hurts him in a whole bunch of ways. Hunter Nard went to some chubby kid's house. She doesn't know his name. She just called him the chubby kid. They showed him this photo. I can't remember what I searched back in the book and found out whatever exhibit 523 was, but it was exhibit 523. She didn't identify him, so they couldn't tell her what it was. Anyway, she went in the house for a couple of minutes and then came out with a bulge in his pocket. So look at what she said he did. I need for you to understand the chain of events that she said happened with her and Tenard this night. And I found something really slick. Check this out. So her and Tenard is together. They go to this chubby kid's crib, or they go meet up with this chubby kid. Then they go back to his crib. Homeboy goes in the house with the chubby kid, comes out. He got a bulge in his pocket, bulge in his pants. She says, what's that? He said it's a gun, but it's not real. Then they went to the studio. That's where they saw Jam Master G and the Spanish guy. The Spanish guy is the other dude that got shot, Tony Ricon. That's the first time he ever met him. Never met him before. This is the first time she's ever been to the studio. She's never been to the studio before. JMJ, J Master J had a gun. Tanar asked him, what do you have that for? And then Tanar told him, whatever problem is your problems is my problems. This is what she said happened. Also, she said when they first walked in, he looked surprised. J Master J looked surprised to see Tanar. She said he said, oh shit. But she said crap in court. So, chain of events. Tanar goes, some dudes picks up with his girl. We're gonna label his girl. Allegedly goes to some dude's crib that she calls Chubby. Got a gun, allegedly. Said it ain't real. Then went to Jam Master J's studio with homegirl. They go upstairs. Once they go upstairs, they see that Jay got a gun on him. He started asking him about the gun. And then he tries to find out why he has the gun. So he asks him who's his problem with, basically. We don't even know if Jay told him. Because she didn't hear it. She's the one testifying. But what we do know is this. They were then sent to the store for refreshments. And when they were sent to the store for refreshments, homegirl went one way to get one thing and he went the other way to get another. And when he linked back up with her, he had at that point had called Lil D and had told her she had to go. That's her testimony. JMJ put the gun on the couch and then she sat down. Tanar asked JMJ when they were going on tour. They never heard Tanar talking about going on tour with JMJ before. She never heard him ever talking about it. I'm not saying he ain't going on tour with her, but she never heard him talking about it. So this is 2002, Run DMC. You go on tour with them, but you never told the person who was your girl. Anyway, so she's like, you never heard about it before. Said J Master J immediately changed the subjects and said, yo, why don't you go get some food and liquor and some, shit to roll up some weed with and shit like that. So they get sent to the store. They leave the studio to get the fucking refreshments. Part of my language. Tanar went to the liquor store. The witness went to go get snacks like grapes or some shit and chocolates or something. She could not hear what Tanar was saying, but he was very demonstrative. She saw him on the phone call. When they met back up, Tanar was making a phone call. She couldn't see him, but she was like he was demonstrative. He got off the phone and he said she had to leave. She was like, yo, my shit is upstairs. So he had to take upstairs first to get her stuff, apparently. She went back to the studio to get the stuff. Then she went back to the cab stand. He took her. So this is her testimony. And we don't know what actually happened, just so we could be clear. But this is her testimony. She said, her and Tanar went to a place. Tanar got a gun. Then they went to Jam Master J's studio. Tanar saw Jam Master J with a gun. Jam Master J, then he asked him about some shit that he never ever heard Tanar talk about before, going on tour with them. Jam Master J then say, yo, why don't you go to the store to get some food and liquor? Then he runs out to the store. While he's outside, she go one way, he go the other. When they link back up, he on the phone, and he's being very demonstrative, speaking loudly. Well, I don't know about the speaking loudly, but being very demonstrative. He was being loud. He might not have been speaking loudly. Got off the phone, said that she had to leave, took her to get her stuff, took her to the cab stand. Said Tanar calls her later, or she knows, and says that Jam Master Jay is dead. He told her he was there. I got a question. This is the second person that said that Tanar told them that he did it. One of these dudes told him while they was in jail. So I don't know. We could blame that on alcohol. I mean, I guess he could, get some moonshine in that bitch. So you telling me this dude is just walking around telling people that he killed one of the most famous DJs of all time? I don't even know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about that if it's true, and I damn sure don't know how to feel about that if that's a lie that's being told. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't think I could ever have that type of audacity. I think the audacity that it takes to do that is just audacity that I could never even understand. That's one of the most audacious things I've ever heard of. You want to know the thing that kills me? So they was talking about Jam Master Jay's financial situation. So apparently he was like in debt, like $250K when this happened. So now some other stuff that I'm just a little privy to is there was a tour that they couldn't do around that time because somebody didn't want to do the tour. Jay was not the one that did not want to do the tour. But there was a tour that they couldn't do because somebody didn't want to do the tour. That's one of the reasons why niggas had, you know what I'm saying? So Jay was still paying for everything, for everyone. I get it. I get it. There has to be gatekeepers. Because if there's no gatekeepers, then things like this happen to more people. Now, I'm not saying that these individuals are guilty. Let's just be clear on that. But what I'm saying is the part where there's even a desperation to need to do what he needed to do, being the type of person with the type of heart that he had. Sometimes things just happen. It's nobody's fault, but it's everybody's fault at the same time. There's no individual that you could point your finger at, but you can point your finger at everybody. This might be one of those moments. So allegedly, a lot of people were warning. And once again, I do not I'm not assigning blame, fault, or guilt to any of the accused. But allegedly, Jay was warned not to necessarily do business with Tenard. Yakim, the dude in Baltimore. That's why it's hard to hire niggas sometimes. Because you want to hire the niggas you know need the help. But you can't hire those niggas first. First, you got to hire the niggas that know what to do. That's the part that makes it hard. Because the niggas your niggas might not be the niggas that know what to do. The niggas that know what to do might be out there. Salute, we got Gotti in the house. The niggas that know what to do might be out there. And you gotta go out there and you gotta find those niggas that know what to do so you can help your niggas that don't know what to do. But I mean, niggas gotta be patient. Niggas gotta know how to play their role. And a lot of people, they see cooperation as bowing down. That's how they see it. They see cooperating as something other than just us working together towards a common goal. That's all cooperating is. It's a common goal. We're working together. Anyway. So no, I get it. What up, Symbology? Scanner, salute. Why they not letting your jump off go through? They say, why they not letting your bag season coffee mug go through, fam? We'll leave it up there anyway, though. Let's get these muskers. We already had the muskers up there. So I just thought that was wild, fam. Shout out to Bimmy. Bimmy was in court today. Bimmy and the homie was in court. I'm so upset. I forgot the dude name. Started with a T. Turk? I keep thinking Turk. Tank? I'm just bad with names. My apologies, fam. My apologies. You said your name only one time. I did not repeat it. I should have repeated it. Anyway, so just so we could be clear. Oh shit, that's the wrong thing. That's not supposed to be down there. I'm like, what the fuck he said that for? Nah, that's supposed to be down there. The fuck? Also, just so we can be clear, see that this is the part I don't get. So, okay, so I'll tell you what happened. So apparently, Tanal goes back to the hotel and she says he goes back to the hotel. And then she says that he just plain point blank said that he has something to do with it. And then two things happen. Okay, the first is this. After they asked her a really good question. That was a fine question. Nothing wrong with it. There was 2 questions that were asked. Both of the questions should have got an objection. But the first question was asked, and then she spoke so quickly that he was able to shoot out the next question before the objection could get out. It's a tactic that could be used to elicit confusion. If you could take a witness and you want to make them look confused, there's tactics that can be used. One of the tactics they were trying to get testimony in. I just like when the tactic is used better to cause confusion. They were trying to get testimony in. Legal chess, yes. They were trying to get. I like when the tactic is used to create confusion. Because that's what, well, first of all, that's what Kelman has been trying to do to them all day. She's been trying to hit them, but it hasn't been working very well. But she's been trying. She actually got like their biggest wins was probably from Kelman. DeMarco's been absolutely knocking it out the box every opportunity he got to. But Kelman probably did their biggest. He caught them in 2 real good moments. They got to find something else, though. They can't keep leaning on that, in my opinion, if they're trying to get not guilty plea in any regard. So the judge says that the questions were leading, but do you remember what I told you earlier? They agreed that they were going to allow for her to be led when it came to a certain conversation, but he didn't ask her about that. He asked her about Jam Master Jay specifically, and then put it in the context of her already saying a thing before she had the opportunity to answer. You are not allowed to do that. Ever. So the judge then undressed McConnell for taking liberties with an earlier ruling regarding the leading. Attorneys cannot testify. Just want to be clear on this. This is what I mean by a lot of times that people be telling you shit in the street and you just be running with it and believing it. They don't be telling you nothing. They like you'll listen to somebody have a whole conversation with an individual, or you'll consider it a debate because people are arguing or whatever, but they're not using they're not being honest. That's the best way to put it. It's just it's not an honest conversation. People are trying to pass off lies like the truth, and they don't want any pushback on the lies, but they want to push back on the truth. In any regard, Washington's team then goes on to say that the prosecution tried to testify instead of ask questions, and then she asks for a mistrial. The prosecution have not been following the directions of the counsel. So after this happens, Kelman gets up and she starts grandstanding. And boy, couldn't she grandstand. So she immediately gets up. Can I just say, pot calling kettle. So she immediately gets up. And she's saying what I've just basically told y'all. Yo, look. What she's basically parroting what the judge just said, basically. But she's making sure her argument is out there. You get it? So then she's like, mistrial. Right? She's like, we want a mistrial. You got to. That she's supposed to, though, by the way. This is not criticism. So at this point, McConnell was not the one that was given the questioning the witness, by the way. It wasn't McConnell. It was freaking Lee. What's his name? Something with an M. Anyway, I remember. Man, I forgot his name. I wrote it somewhere. When I see it, I'll tell you. Anyway, so he was the one that was talking about. McConnell gets up and is like, look, judge, it's just a miscommunication. we thought that we're gonna be able to have a just like that's not a miscommunication. The thing you did is so egregious. There's no way that you could have thought that that was some shit that we was gonna allow. That's what it just felt like. That's what she was saying. By the way, Judge LaShawn, I believe you pronounce it, the Honorable LaShawn Darcy Hall has she has her hair braided, nice long braids. You can tell they fly. I'm all the way in the back of the courtroom. You can tell they fly. So she's 100% a black woman, and you can tell she turned on that energy in that moment. She was extremely she turned on that black woman energy in that moment. These guys was definitely embarrassed. I want to be clear about this. This is before I tell you about how the Washington team is just these guys. They trying everything they can. No, it is what it is. You're supposed to try everything that you can. If you're not, then you are definitely not. You're not doing your client any service if you're not trying everything that you can. Just so we can be clear. I'm not saying do stupid shit. In any regard, she's like, that was not a miscommunication. Because basically, the shit that y'all was trying to do, that is not nowhere. Okay? That's nowhere. That you can't do that. Like, she's like going off on him. She's really pissed. And he's like, it was all in good faith. It was just really a mistake. He's like really contrite. She said, your question indicated a different first question was fine. And then the next two questions, they were all leading, and they were just leading terribly. It was way too far. She said she was concerned about her safety when asked about the death of JMJ. So I'll tell y'all what happened. So basically, she said, the witness, he asked her a question, and the question was, like, what did he tell you when he got back to the hotel? But she did not answer the question at all. She didn't answer the question at all. That's why I can't remember what the question was. She didn't answer the question, fam. She started talking about some totally different shit. It was like, what kind of cereal do you like in the morning? Can't believe they killed off that character in that movie I like so much. That's like what it was. In any regard, she just started saying that she was concerned for her safety. Now, this is where I think the problem came. I think the prosecution was trying to do something slick. I think they were trying to be a little bit tricky. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know if the judge saw it or not. Judge way smarter than me. But I believe the prosecution was trying to do something tricky. So, this is the wild part. If she would have just said it herself, it'd be on the record. That's what they want. But I think they were trying to be too tricky. And because they were trying to be too tricky, I think she just went off and did her own thing. Because when she says, because remember, they don't want her to talk about any other murders or any other cases. They're only allowed to talk about this. The other stuff, it doesn't have any pertinence to this. It's not in no connection. Now, if it has a connection, then yes, we could talk about it. That's why earlier I told y'all about a bullet. Anyway, that's another story. So, just so we could be clear, she says she was scared for her life. So the prosecution took this as she might go off the deep end. So this is where the prosecution starts leading. And that's where the problem came in When in reality, hell, if he would have just stayed shut, she probably would have just said a whole bunch of shit that they wanted her to say. And them niggas was going to have to object and say, is there a question in there? She's not asking any questions. She's just up there talking, Judge. This is not how this is done. So they read back the question, right? Mr. Missouri, that's his name, Missouri. So they say the same thing. We're trying to make sure that she stay on. We don't want her to bring up any other charges, trials, or whatever, right? Then Washington comes back up. Washington's attorney, I believe this is Kelman, says that they were concerned if the other acts of violence comes up, that we'd be okay if they leave the witness around by the other murders. So the thing that caused the whole courtroom to stop is because the attorney said, didn't he say, and it made a statement, you're not allowed to do that. That's testifying for the witness. I'm going to tell you what the statement is. Give me 2 seconds. I'm just trying to explain what the problem was. You're not allowed to do that. That's testifying for the witness. That's like telling somebody something that they don't know. How do we know that that person knew that? You get it? There's no way that we can know that that person knew that. We only know that you just told that person that. So he said, didn't Tannar tell you that that was good for him? That's what he gets. Something like that. Judge cleared the courtroom. Why are you trying to fuck up my trial? The problem here, Washington team can't take the high road. Right? They tried it, but they can't really take the high road, in my opinion, because they agreed to the leading, but they didn't specify what could be led on. They should have specified that way more directly. They left it super open-ended. They do that with a lot of stuff over there. I don't get it. I guess it's so you could attack thing. I don't know. They got a strategy. These guys do it for a living. They know what they're doing. Anyway, then the judge asked, did the conversations have to do with the murder about JMJ and other acts? Did Washington talk about other criminal conduct in the about the JMJ murder? They're like, yes. Washington team says yes. How would you contemplate how the government could lead? Like, she's like how would, basically saying, how could you even come to this kind of conclusion? Like, how could this be a thing? How can this be a thing that y'all guys are so? The judge is pissed because, one, y'all made a fucking agreement. I don't know nothing about. How y'all over there making an agreement about how y'all gonna run my courtroom? Nobody told me anything. So now we up here in the middle of the court. I'm looking like I don't know what's going on in my own damn house. She was pissed, and rightfully so. I would have been pissed at both parties. How y'all made an agreement and nobody came back and talked to me about it? Y'all tell me about every fucking thing else. Anyway, how did you determine this would be done? Directly, the witness to talk only about JMJ is not saying that you're okay or that's leading. So she was like, the judge was like, so how did you think this was going to be done? So Kelman was like, well, they were going to direct her that she could only talk about JMJ. And then the judge is like, that's not leading. That's what she's supposed to be doing. Who else is she supposed to be talking about? Why would you agree to let the prosecution have any leeway with leading a witness at all? Right? Just so we can be clear. But now that you have this agreement, whatever, nigga. Now that you have this agreement, how is the agreement based on them only doing a thing that isn't even leading? That hurt my head. That doesn't make sense. Am I the only one that thinks that doesn't make sense? I can't be the only one. I'm gonna repeat this just so we can be clear. The judge, the Kelman is like, we agreed they could lead a little bit, judge. Just ask him a question. She says yes, and then the judge says, "Well, how do you contemplate that the government was going to be able to do that?" Kelman says, if there was a reason to believe that she would bring up any of the robberies or any stretch murders, then that's off grounds. She's only allowed to talk about J Master J. Yes, like every other damn witness. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. This shit is hilarious to me. I was laughing out loud. I know the judge probably definitely got pissed off at me for a minute too. Anyway, they went to recess after that. She needed to go cool off. She was pissed, man. She needed to go back there in the back, do some woosahs. She needed to cool off. I would have been pissed, man. Y'all see how I be pissed when people come in here doing weirdo shit I don't think make no sense. You know how pissed I would have been? A whole court of law. I'm a judge in a court of law, and people was coming in there doing shit that don't make no sense. What is y'all talking about? Anyway, the judge then goes on to say, Judge Hall goes on to say, the Honorable Judge Hall goes on to say, okay, that they made a motion for mistrial. They discussed how a question a witness to prevent prejudices being mentioned in open court. The prosecution insisted they would lead her in the questions only about J Master J and not other murders. They did not acknowledge you would lead with you would lead with the murder, which you cannot do. That's not a thing you could do. And then I think this is still McConnell. It's the prosecution in any regard. Says when they spoke with her previously, she spoke about other murders. The judge says she already gave a complete response. The subsequent questions were not necessary. They weren't. I was in court. So basically, he asked her a question and he gave her an open-ended answer so she can do all of the things that she needed to do. But she's out to lunch. So I'm guessing I don't know. She missed a cue. I don't know what to tell you. So she didn't use the open-ended question opportunity. That's the prosecution's fault. The prosecution is supposed to be meeting with their witnesses at some point, at least long enough to ascertain how much information they could retain. Right? So maybe with this witness, we don't give her no open-ended questions too tough. Maybe with this witness, we get her going first and we ask her some questions so she could give a whole bunch of yeses. Yes, 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 yes. Now she going. Now we ask her a question, not really open-ended, but a question that gives us an opportunity to ask a second question if that first question isn't completely answered the way that we like. This isn't rocket science. This has been doing this. This is the way the court's just been being ran. I don't know if everybody's been watching too much fucking Perry Mason. which is a great show, by the way. I'm very upset that I don't think there's going to be a third season. Somebody call Max, tell him to make a third season. Perry Mason is a really good show. Go check it out. But this is not Perry Mason. Anyway, point being is, it seems like they should have put a little bit more care into their witness, especially a witness that's going to get onto the stand and point a finger at one of the individuals that you want to get convicted and tell you that they did it. They told them that they did it. I don't know if he did it, and I'm just saying that's what her testimony is. Did he say people get what they... Oh, the question was that he allegedly told her people get what they deserve. Why don't you never hear a good person saying that about somebody? I just want to say that. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but I just want to say something. You notice that good people don't really ever say stuff like that. We don't even know if he said it, just to be honest with you. She's just saying he said it. But do you notice that good people never say shit like that? Like, good people are never sitting around hoping bad things happen to other people for them to gloat about. Nobody else notices that? Anyway. Also, she answered the question, by the way. She said yes before the objection was even able to get out of the damn defense attorney's mouth. That's why there was a problem. If she didn't answer, they'd be in trouble, but it wouldn't be as much trouble. So the jury heard that. They were told to disregard it, by the way, but they heard it. Said the first, so they're still talking. There's no jury in here. This is just open court. They talking. Washington's team. I believe this is. I still believe this is Kelman. She's been like lead counsel. Says our first question was appropriate. The rest could also have been objected against. The judge agrees. Says still, but not inclined to allow a mistrial. She's trying to get a mistrial. Kelman then says the last question is testimony by the government crosses lines and plant seeds and prejudice. I got a lot of stuff written, so I'm just not saying everything. Got a lot of stuff written. If she now repeats it, should there be a mistrial? Like, get it? Remember that now, if she just says it organically, should there still be a mistrial? And Kelman says absolutely, because he gave it an answer. This is done in the grand jury, but not in open court. So then Kelman goes on for like a couple of minutes talking about how the grand jury is unfair, just so you can be clear. She did a pretty good job of standing on that soapbox also, by the way. Then the prosecution says witnesses have said this many times. The judge says does not change the situation. It's still improper. The prosecution then goes on to say they're fine with the court striking the last two questions. The government did not mean to do anything malicious. The judge says questions cannot suggest the answer, basically, like I said, like we've been discussing. But like we basically discuss almost every trial, right? A lot of judges, this happens often. The prosecution agrees, said that we can map out what we have, acts and tasks. The judge then says, not limiting evidence. Can you put in what can you put in front of the jury as long as it's through the proper means? So basically, As long as you do it the proper way, you could tell the jury anything if it goes through all the proper, because if the jury isn't supposed to receive it, then they won't be able to. But if you put everything through the proper channels, then they'll be able to get it. So why not just do that? Then he goes on to say, wants to ask if Tanar spoke to JMJ members. They follow up. What did he say? So basically, they're like, "Yo, look, Judge, we're just gonna mistrial's denied." By the way, and the judge says that she believes that the statement would have eventually made it into court. So there's no telling how many other people might say the same damn thing. She directed the jury. Jury comes back in. She says she's going to direct the jury when they do come back in. Disregard the last two questions. What the lawyers ask is not evidence. And then said the objection was sustained. Because there was a whole objection before I started telling y'all all of that, by the way. Question was stricken from the record. The prosecution goes on to say, why is this blue? Oh, they finally spoke. I do a lot over here with the different colors and everything that allows for me to know who's saying what, when, where, and why. Anyway, they decided that they was going to go over the questions with the court about the questions that they was asked. And the only thing that Little D's attorneys wanted to know is could they get more specific dates about a thing. Sorry. We could go on a little bit longer. I'll tell you more. Also, they got called out because that's something they should have brought up sooner. Long dates about, I believe it's the dates about when she's saying something specifically happened when she was met at the funeral. Because one of the things, because she's saying Little D was there. And one of the things I believe Little D's team is going to say is that he was actually locked up in jail, so he couldn't have been there. You lying. Or you misinformed, or you just remember wrong. I don't know. Might just be lying. I don't know. But that's what they're saying. All right, now they're talking about paperwork. All right, there's no paperwork. I prefer to turn the pages without licking my fingers so I could like see just how good my touch is. In long story. So they go over a couple of things. She says that Tenard said that he killed JMJ and told her more details about J and Master J, just so we could be clear. Then there was a hotel receipt for December 7th. He told her he was going to meet up with Noyd because they was showing that they was together on December 7th. There's a hotel receipt. He told her he was going to go meet up with Noyd. When he came back, he was upset. It said in 2003, and then it said they was upset. Now later in 2003, she attended Little Mac's funeral. People from Hollis told people from Hollis pulled up on her. She's saying it was Big D and Little D and told her don't talk to the police. Then Kelman does her cross. I think I'm going to cover the Kelman cross in the morning. Yeah, I wanted to do the Kelman cross right now. I think I'll just do that in the morning, to be honest with you. But this was about the mistrial, and I explained to you how there was almost a mistrial today, or at least the defense team asked for a mistrial. So there's going to be no court tomorrow, so there will be morning coffee. There will be morning coffee tomorrow. They asked for a mistrial. They didn't get it, obviously. I think it was a good chance to ask, I guess. I guess that was their first opportunity, you know what I'm saying? But I think it also makes them look bad because they was part of the problem. Like if they was 100% not part of the problem, I just think it would have came out better. With that being said, I love y'all. Everybody have a good night. We will be back in the morning. I don't even think we sent out any notifications because I haven't been making any lives. So I'm gonna try to get some videos going over here so we can start sending notifications out. I love y'all. Please, everybody, have a blessed night. Like, comment, subscribe, join the notification gang. Hashtag Bronx Bombers. Y'all can hear my voice, right? Hashtag Bronx Bombers. Let's get it. I love y'all. Take care of each other. Hug the kids for me. I haven't forgotten about you. That's all I got on this one. Amen.